My boyfriend dumped me, certain I'd come crawling back. I didn't. 3 weeks later, he came back demanding to know why I'd taken the breakup seriously. My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 29 and 2 days before my boyfriend dumped me, we were sitting on my couch looking at apartments we might move into together. That's why I thought something terrible had happened when Ethan called me on Tuesday night and said, "We need to talk." I was making dinner. What happened? I was quiet for a second. I think we should break up. I stopped what I was doing. What? I don't think this relationship is working anymore. Ethan Carter and I had been together for almost 2 years. We weren't perfect, but we hadn't been fighting. Nobody had cheated, and he hadn't spent the previous month slowly pulling away from me. 48 hours earlier, he had been joking about how I would steal all the closet space when we lived together. Now he was ending it over the phone. Where is this coming from? I just don't think you're as invested as I am. I almost laughed because the accusation made so little sense. Ethan, we were looking at apartments 2 days ago. That's not what I mean. Then what do you mean? He hesitated. You never fight for me. You never chase me. You don't even get jealous. I lowered the heat on the stove. Are you serious? Yes. A month earlier, his car had broken down almost 4 hours away. He called me after midnight because he was stranded, and I drove there, picked him up and drove us home even though I had work the next morning. Apparently, that didn't count. So what exactly would prove I'm invested? I don't know, Claire. Maybe showing me you actually care about losing me. I do care. Then why don't I ever feel it? I was getting frustrated now. What are you asking me to do? I shouldn't have to tell you. That answer bothered me more than anything else he had said. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then Ethan said, "Maybe we really should end this." It hurt, but he sounded serious. So I treated him like he was serious. Okay. The silence on the other end lasted long enough that I checked whether the call had dropped. Then Ethan said, "Okay. If you want to break up, I'm not going to force you to stay." That's it? What do you mean, that's it? You're seriously just going to let me go? Now I was confused. You're the one breaking up with me. I know, but what? I went quiet again. I could hear him breathing. Finally, he said, "I guess I expected you to care more." That hurt. Don't do that. Do what? Don't end a 2-year relationship and then tell me my reaction means I never cared about you. I didn't say you never cared. You just said I'm not fighting hard enough while you're the one walking away. I didn't answer. I was trying not to cry by then. If this is what you want, Ethan, then okay. Claire, goodbye. I ended the call. Then I sat on my kitchen floor and cried. That was the part Ethan never seemed to understand later. Just because I didn't beg him to stay didn't mean losing him didn't hurt. I loved him. I just believed him. The next morning, I blocked his number before I could talk myself into waiting for him to change his mind. I gathered the hoodie, running shoes, charger, and books he had left at my apartment and put them away where I wouldn't have to look at them. For the next 2 days, I barely slept. Then Madison Reed messaged me. Madison was part of Ethan's friend group. We knew each other from birthdays and dinners, but we had never been close enough for her message to feel completely normal. Heard about you and Ethan. I'm sorry. You okay? I replied. Not really. I will be. Her next message made me pause. Honestly, you handled it better than I expected. I stared at the screen. Expected? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Bad choice of words. I just meant breakups get ugly sometimes. Something about the answer felt off, but I was exhausted and didn't push it. A few days later, Madison invited me for coffee. She didn't interrogate me about Ethan, which I appreciated. We talked about work, mutual friends, and everything, except my breakup, until she casually mentioned her older brother. Noah asked about you once. I looked at her. Noah, you met him at Ethan's birthday last year. It took me a second to remember him. Tall, dark hair, quiet until someone mentioned a movie he hated. When did he ask about me? Madison suddenly became very interested in her coffee. A while ago. When I was still with Ethan? Yes, but nothing happened. He knew you had a boyfriend. I shook my head. Madison, I've been single for less than a week. I know I'm not setting you up. She absolutely was. 3 days later, she invited me to a group dinner. Noah was sitting at the table when I arrived. I stopped beside Madison. Seriously? She smiled innocently. What? I gave her a look and sat down. To Noah's credit, he didn't make the evening uncomfortable. He remembered me. I barely remembered him, which he found funny. and most of our conversation was about work, bad movies, and Madison's obsession with pineapple pizza. He never asked what happened with Ethan. When we walked toward the parking lot afterward, he said, "I know you just got out of a relationship, so I'm not going to ask for your number." That's a strangely specific thing to tell me. I laughed. I realized that after I said it. For the first time in days, I laughed too. "I like talking to you," he said. "I like talking to you too. Good night, Claire." That was it. Over the next week, I saw him twice more with the group. Then he finally asked me to dinner. "I need to be clear about something," I told him. "I'm not over Ethan." Noah nodded. "I figured. And I'm not looking for another boyfriend. I'm asking you to dinner, not to pick out wedding invitations." I laughed. "Dinner I can do." So we went. Then we went again. Nothing dramatic happened. I liked being around him, and after the way my relationship had ended, normal felt good. Madison seemed even happier about it than I was. Every few days she asked how Noah was doing, whether he had texted me, whether we were going out again. I assumed she was just being an annoying sister. I was wrong. Almost 3 weeks after the breakup, I ran into Chloe at the grocery store. Chloe was another woman from Ethan's friend group. The moment she saw me, she looked uncomfortable. "Claire, hey, hey." She glanced toward the end of the aisle. "How have you been?" "Okay. Good. That's good." I waited. She looked like she wanted to say something. Instead, she grabbed her cart. "I should go." "Chloe?" She stopped. "Is something wrong?" "No." The answer came too quickly. Then she left. I stood there wondering what that was about. That night, Madison knocked on my apartment door. She didn't even take off her jacket. "Ethan knows about you and Noah." I stared at her. "Okay." He's furious. That sounds like an Ethan problem. Normally, Madison would have laughed. She didn't. Instead, she sat down and twisted her phone between her hands. "He thinks I did this on purpose." "Did what?" "Introduced you to Noah." "You did introduce us." "I know, but he thinks I ruined his plan." I stopped. "His what?" Madison's face changed. She realized what she had said. "What plan?" "Claire, what plan?" She exhaled. The breakup wasn't supposed to be permanent. For a second, I honestly thought she was joking. "What?" "Ethan had been complaining that you weren't passionate enough. He said you never got jealous, never chased him after arguments, never acted scared of losing him." That sounds familiar. Some of the guys told him he should do something to get a reaction out of you. I stared at her. "Something like dumping me?" Madison didn't answer. She didn't need to. I thought back to that phone call. "That's it? You're seriously just going to let me go?" I expected you to care more. My stomach dropped. He didn't want to break up with me. No. I wanted me to beg him not to. Madison nodded. I got up from the couch because suddenly I couldn't sit still. "So when I said okay, he thought you would call him back." "When?" "I don't know, that night, the next morning." "And when I didn't?" He kept waiting. I stared at her. For nearly 3 weeks, I had been trying to recover from a breakup Ethan apparently thought was temporary. How was I supposed to know that? "You weren't." I looked at her. "How long have you known?" Her eyes moved away from mine. That was my answer. "Madison." I knew he was talking about doing something stupid. I didn't know exactly what he was going to say. "You knew before he called me?" "Yes." I felt something colder than anger settle in my chest. "And 2 days later, you messaged me. I was checking on you. Then you introduced me to Noah. I didn't force you to like him." "I didn't say you did." Before she could answer, her phone started buzzing. Once, twice, then again. Madison looked at the screen. "Oh God. What?" She turned the phone toward me. Ethan had created a group chat called Intervention. His messages were coming in faster than anyone could answer. "You knew what you were doing. You wanted her with Noah. You ruined everything." Madison typed, "You dumped her, Ethan. What did you expect her to do?" Another message appeared. This one was from Chloe. "Madison told you this was a terrible idea before you did it. Stop acting like she caused the breakup." I looked at Madison. "You told him not to do it." She froze. "I told him it was stupid." "Then you knew more than you just told me." I didn't know exactly what he was going to say. "That's not what I asked." She closed her eyes. Before she could answer, another message from Ethan appeared. She knew Claire would take it seriously. Nobody said anything. I looked at Madison. She looked like she wanted the floor to open beneath her. That was when I realized I had 2 different problems. Ethan had tested me. Madison had known enough to see the disaster coming, and instead of warning me, She had decided what should happen next. The next evening, Noah called. I told him everything. When I finished, he was silent for several seconds. Did Madison know before the breakup? Yes. Did she tell you? Not until last night. And swore under his breath. Did you know? I asked. No. The answer came immediately. Nothing? Nothing. Madison told me you and Ethan broke up, that's all. I wanted to believe him. I wasn't sure I was ready to believe anyone. 10 minutes after we hung up, an unknown number called me. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. Hello? Claire. I knew the voice. Ethan. Whose phone is this? My mom's. What do you want? I didn't answer my question. You're dating Noah. I've had dinner with him. It's been 3 weeks. You broke up with me 3 weeks ago. You know that's not what I wanted. I almost laughed. No, Ethan, I didn't know that. Come on. You told me you wanted to break up. I wanted to see if you'd fight for us. There it was. Straight from him. Not Madison's version, not Chloe's. His. You broke up with me to see what I would do. I know it sounds bad when you say it like that. How else am I supposed to say it? I was insecure, Claire. Then you should have told me you were insecure. I tried. No, you gave me a test without telling me there was a test. I made a mistake. Yes, then let me fix it. I was quiet. His voice softened. I miss you. That hurt because I missed him too. I missed Sunday mornings with him. I missed the stupid arguments about movies. I missed the version of our future I had believed in 3 weeks earlier. But I didn't trust him anymore. I miss parts of us too, I said. Then come back. I can't. Because of Noah? No. Then why? Because when you wanted reassurance, you didn't talk to me. You tried to scare me into proving something. I was quiet. I would never do it again. Maybe not. Then give me another chance. I wanted to believe him. That was the hardest part. But wanting to believe someone isn't the same as trusting them. I can't, Ethan. He started to say my name. I ended the call. 2 days later, his mother Diane called from her work phone. Claire, I know Ethan made a stupid mistake, but he's devastated. I'm sorry he's hurting. You were together almost 2 years. I know. Does one bad decision really erase all of that? No, but it can change what comes after it. She sighed. He just wanted to know you loved him. Then he could have asked me. And Noah, I was done. I'm not discussing Noah with you, Diane. I ended the call. A few days later, Ethan showed up at the bar where I sometimes met friends. I hated that place. The parking was terrible, the music was too loud, and during our entire relationship, he had gone there with me twice. So when he walked through the door and looked directly at my table, I knew he had come for me. 5 minutes, he said. My friends went quiet. I stood. Outside. On the sidewalk, Ethan looked exhausted. Not angry. Just exhausted. I miss you, he said. You already told me. I needed to say it to your face. I rubbed the back of his neck. We were good together. We were. We were going to live together. I know. Then how can you just walk away? That finally made me angry. I didn't walk away, Ethan. You did. You know what I mean. No, that's the problem. I keep having to figure out what you mean after you say something completely different. I looked down. I was stupid. Yes, I listened to people I shouldn't have. You still made the call. I know. That stopped me for a second. It was the first time he had said it without immediately blaming Madison. Then we start over. I shook my head. His eyes moved toward the bar behind me. Is Noah in there? No. If Madison hadn't put him in front of you, would you take me back? I don't know. That was the truth. Ethan looked almost relieved. Then I continued. But I know I'm not taking you back now. His face fell. What if Madison planned all of this? She didn't make you break up with me. She knew what I was doing. And that makes what she did wrong. It doesn't make what you did disappear. He stared at me. So you're choosing Noah? I'm not choosing either of you. Then what are you doing? I thought about it. Getting out of this mess. For once, Ethan had nothing to say. I went back inside. 3 days later, Madison called me. Ethan had shown up at her apartment the night before, banging on her door and yelling that she had ruined his life. A neighbor came into the hallway and threatened to call the police, and Ethan finally left. Madison later made a report so there would be a record if he came back. 2 days later, Chloe messaged me. Jan, we talk. There's something you should see. I called her. I should have told you earlier, she said. Told me what? Madison knew more than she admitted. My stomach tightened. How much more? She didn't know Ethan's exact words, but she knew he was thinking about making you believe the relationship was over. Then Chloe sent me a screenshot from the day before Ethan dumped me. Chloe had written, "If Ethan actually goes through with this, Claire is going to take him seriously." Madison replied, "Then maybe he deserves what happens next." I read it twice. Did she encourage him? I asked. No, she thought the whole thing was stupid. Did Noah know? No, not that I ever heard. The next day, I met Madison for lunch. I put the screenshot on the table between us. She looked at it and sighed. "Chloe sent you that?" "Yes." "Claire, you knew I would take him seriously." "I thought you might." "And you knew Noah liked me." She looked down. "Yes." "Then you waited 2 days after the breakup and contacted me." "I felt terrible." "And then you introduced me to your brother." Her eyes filled. "I thought maybe something good could come out of something stupid." That answer was so simple that I believed it. Madison hadn't created some elaborate scheme. She had just decided she knew what was best for everyone. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I knew you might not see Noah if you knew." I stared at her. "That's exactly why you should have told me." She didn't argue. "I'm sorry." "Did Noah know any of this?" "No, I swear." I believed her, but I still needed to hear it from him. Noah came over that evening. Madison had already told him what happened, and he was furious. "She used me," he said. "She made me part of this without telling me." "Did you know Ethan was planning something?" "No." "Did you know Madison knew?" "No." "Did you know she introduced us because she thought his breakup gave you a chance?" "Not until today." He stood and paced across my living room. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone to that dinner. That stung. "You regret meeting me?" He stopped. "No, that's not what I mean." "I know. I don't regret you. I regret being dragged into this." I believed him, and that was exactly why what I said next was difficult. "I think we should stop seeing each other." Noah stared at me. "Seriously?" "I'm sorry. I didn't do anything." "I know." "Then why am I the one losing something?" He sounded genuinely angry, and strangely, that made the conversation easier. At least he wasn't pretending this didn't hurt. "You're not being punished," I said. "I just went from Ethan deciding how I should prove I love him to Madison deciding who I should meet next. I need to make one decision that isn't a reaction to somebody else." Noah looked away. He was quiet for a long time. "I hate that this makes sense." I almost smiled. "So do I." At the door, he turned back. "I still like you." "I know." "That's going to be inconvenient." This time I did smile. "Probably." Then he left. The next morning, I told Madison I needed distance from her too. She apologized without defending herself. I appreciated that, but I still stepped away. 2 days later, Ethan texted me from another number. "I heard you ended things with Noah. Now you see what Madison did. Maybe we can finally fix this." I read it once. Then I typed, "No." His reply came almost immediately. "That's it?" I stared at those words. 3 weeks earlier, he had asked me almost the exact same thing when I accepted the breakup. This time I didn't answer. I blocked him. A few days later, he showed up at my gym. I wasn't a member, so instead of walking over to him, I told the manager that I had repeatedly asked him not to contact me. A staff member asked Ethan to leave. He argued for a minute, then walked out. I never came back. After that, the drama finally started to die. I stopped talking to most of Ethan's friend group. I went through the gifts and keepsakes he had given me, kept what was useful and got rid of the things I knew I would only stare at when I was lonely. I also started therapy. It made me think about things I had ignored while Ethan and I were together. He had always expected me to know when something was wrong, even when he insisted everything was fine. Once another woman flirted with him at a party, and instead of being relieved that I trusted him, he seemed disappointed that I wasn't jealous. Looking back, the breakup hadn't come completely out of nowhere. It was just the first time that habit cost him something he couldn't take back. About a month after the gym incident, I saw Ethan at the grocery store. We noticed each other from opposite ends of an aisle. Neither of us moved at first. I looked tired. For a second, I almost walked over out of habit. Instead, I gave him a small nod. He nodded back. Then we both kept shopping. There was no strange number calling me that night. No message. Nothing. I had finally stopped. Several weeks later, Noah texted me. "Hope you're doing okay. No pressure to answer." I waited a few hours before replying. "I'm doing better. Hope you are too." "I am." That was all. Months passed. Eventually, Ethan stopped being the first person I thought of whenever an unknown number appeared on my phone. Madison and I remained polite but distant, and Noah and I exchanged the occasional message without trying to turn it into anything more. Then one Saturday, he asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes. We stayed at the cafe for almost 2 hours. The first few minutes were awkward, but after that, it felt surprisingly normal. We talked about work, laughed about Madison still stealing his streaming passwords, and neither of us mentioned Ethan until we were getting ready to leave. Outside, Noah shoved his hands into his jacket pockets. I want to ask you something, and I'm just going to ask it instead of making you guess. I smiled. That would be refreshing. He laughed. I'd like to take you out again. A real date this time. Do you want to go? Yeah, I said. I do. Noah smiled and opened the passenger door for me. As I got in, my phone buzzed inside my purse. For a second, the sound brought back an old reflex, the unknown numbers, Ethan's messages, the feeling that every notification might drag me back into the same argument. I pulled out my phone. It wasn't Ethan. Just a reminder from the Thai restaurant Ethan and I used to visit, offering a discount because I hadn't ordered in months. I looked at it for a second, then deleted it. You good? Noah asked. Yeah, I put my phone away. Where are we going? There's a place across town I think you'll like. Does it have pineapple pizza? No. Good start. He laughed as he closed the door. As we pulled away from the cafe, my phone stayed quiet in my purse. No unknown number. No message from Ethan. For the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for the next interruption. Noah glanced over at me. You okay? I looked out the windshield, then back at him. Yeah, I actually am. He smiled and turned it onto the main road. Ethan had broken up with me because he wanted to see how hard I would fight to keep him. In the end, he got his answer. I didn't chase him. He chased me. And by the time he finally understood what he'd thrown away, I wasn't waiting for him anymore.